Thank you. Thank you. Now you may be wondering, why is she saying thank you? She's just getting started. Usually she says that people say that at the end of a talk, right? Well, first of all, the reason why I'm saying it is, number one, that is the topic for today. Thank you. And secondly, I wanted to start with that because I want us to get us in the mood from the get-go. How many of you think about saying thank you before anything happens? Before an event happens? Before something is coming up? How many times has it crossed your mind to say thank you first? It's not something probably that's natural for us to do, is it? We think about what's coming up, what are the details I have to take care of, all these things. And yet, do we ever stop and know that in divine mind, it is all done? And when we place ourselves in that attitude of gratitude from the beginning, we place ourselves in that stream of goodness, in that flow of knowing. And how does it make you feel when you say thank you? Does it make you feel sad? No. It makes you feel happy. It makes you feel glad. Yay. Something good happened. I'm grateful. I'm happy. How many of you have been reading the Science of Mind magazine this month? Okay, then it's new to all of you. The woman that has been doing the daily readings is the minister that had previously been in Phoenix with Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington. She is a Science of Mind minister as well, and her name is Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano. And I think she was in Phoenix for several years, and then when Roger Teal, the minister of Mile High Church in Colorado, when he retired, they asked Michelle to come in and take over Mile High Church in Colorado. So it's quite a feather in her cap to have that huge church, thousands of people in it. But I wanted to share with you what the titles are of her topics that I've been reading this month. Each one has a topic. The first one is gratitude for right now, gratitude for love, gratitude for my body, gratitude for my gifts, gratitude for my joy, gratitude for my pain, gratitude for my abundance, gratitude for my humor, for my grief, gratitude for nature, for veterans, gratitude for God, for questions, for emotions, for our beloveds, for music, for resistance, for my resistance, for beauty, for success, failure, gratitude for failure, gratitude for leaders, for spiritual law, gratitude for change, gratitude for family of choice, gratitude for my life, gratitude for my soul, gratitude for challenging people, gratitude for my good. Do you see that there's a variety there, isn't there? It's not just a listing of things that we quote unquote consider good or things that make us happy. Gratitude for it all encompassing, no matter what take or what judgment we might put on it. Whatever's coming into our life is a gift from God. And I think that many of us on this spiritual path that we're on are looking to be spiritually evolved, to be spiritually mature. We want to move our consciousness up to a higher level of experience, right? And in so doing that, when we have things like pain and challenging people and things like that that come into our life, What we can do is step back and take another look at it and see, where is it in this experience that will benefit me? What in this experience can I take as the gift? I loved Wayne Dyer's reading on his daily calendar yesterday. It said, wanting to feel good is synonymous with wanting to feel God. Remember, God is good, and all that God created was good. Do you want to feel God? You want to feel good? One of the songs that our Martin Luther King choir sings says, God is good all the time, God is good. Where is God? What is God? Everywhere present, right? There is not a spot where God is not. So this goodness and this God is everywhere. It reminds me of Emma Curtis Hopkins, saying that she said is that this too is God, this too is good, and I demand to see the good in it now. Right? Because sometimes we don't. Sometimes things happen in our lives and we're just like, wow, that hit me, blindsided me. Where is the good in it? I want to see it now. The way to accomplish that, of course, and again, this goes against our human nature, but remember, we're more than human. We are that divine energy. But our human nature always wants to judge things, always wants to categorize, wants to make it right, wants to make it wrong, wants to make it good and bad. That's our human nature. And it reminds me of, I think you're all familiar with that story of the old farmer, who worked his crops for years, and he had one horse, and one day that horse ran away, and upon hearing that, all the neighbors, oh, how sad and how horrible that your horse ran away. And then a few days later, and every time that one of the neighbors would say this, the farmer would say, they would say, such bad luck. And he said, maybe. So the next morning, the horse returned, and he brought with him 3 more wild horses. And all the neighbors said, wow, that's great, it's wonderful. And the farmer responded, maybe. And the following day, his son took one of the wild horses out for a ride and was thrown, and he broke his leg. The neighbors again offered him sympathy and said, oh my gosh, what a misfortune. And the farmer replied, maybe. The next day, the military officials came to the village to draft all the young men in the army. And seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by, and the neighbors congratulated him and said, yes, this thing's work turned out fine. And the farmer said, maybe. Isn't that how life happens? It is this continual flux of ups and downs, of judgments. Oh, this is wonderful. That's not so good. What the farmer was doing, I think, and I think it goes beyond, in a way, I look at the farmer and I go, what was he, just numb? Was he just so disattached to anything? What kind of person is that? How inspiring and how fun are they? Well, maybe. To me, our emotions are part of how we move this divine energy within us. I was reading an article about that whole, because I'm sure you've probably heard that whole story. It goes on and on and on. It can keep going, with all the different verses of it. But the one thing that I was reading was saying that you recognize what the farmer was really doing, and not that he was just not even attached, but that he didn't really even care. Whatever happened, happened. And part of me says, oh, that's good to be detached. That's good to just go with the flow. And part of me says, come on. There needs to be some sort of energy given I believe, in a response to a situation. The trick of it is, though, because I don't believe that we're here to just be numb. I honestly don't. But I think the trick of the situation is to not get carried away with the flow of it, to recognize what's happened, and yes, to be thankful or to be sad. An emotion of sadness is something that's a reality of this world, and or disappointment. That happens in our lives. But to touch base with it, but don't grab onto it and hold on to it. There is one infinite power. What do we call it? God. I was trying to remember what the acronym was that Deepak used for God. I don't think global organizing distribution, something like that. I know it was organizing distribution, but I didn't remember what the G was. Maybe it was global. But it seems to me like it should be more than global. Organizing distribution. It's this energy, this essence of what is everything, and what is from the beginning of time to the never ending of time. On and on and on. And our little lives that we have at this little speck in time, oh my gosh, what a tiny little speck in time it is it not? And yet we know that this energy is ever flowing in full force, and that we are in and of and as it, so that we will never end. We're going to keep going with this flow. And I realized, as I was putting my thoughts together on this talk, that, I went to the Anton Conference, which is the affiliated New Thought Conference I go to every year. They have wonderful speakers. I usually come back and share with you all this information of the notes that I took and so forth. And this year, that all got kind of swept by the side with my sister's passing. And I realized I haven't yet shared anything with you about the Anton Conference. So I wanted to let you know some of the things that were shared, because it's relative to what we're talking about today. One of the speakers that was just, to me, over the top was Mitch Horowitz. How many of you are familiar with Mitch Horowitz? I can understand that, because if you don't read Science of Mind, you wouldn't be reading his articles every month. And he is quite an intellectual individual. I mean, he can get up there and speak just extemporaneously and quote all this information. I'd say he's probably about maybe nearing 40. Good-looking man, big, tall man. He's got tats all over him, tattoos, and he wears dark nail polish. And so he is, not what we call the norm, regular person that you expect to see at times, but man, is he intelligent. I went over my notes, and I honestly have to just kind of stick to the words that I wrote down here, because to try to repeat what he said is not easy for me, so I wanted to get it right. He's talked about the placebo studies that have been coming up recently. Have been amazing. How many know what a placebo is? You know what a placebo is, right? It's like, I'll give you the sugar pill, and it's going to work. And it's a sugar pill. It doesn't have any of the stuff in it that's supposed to work, but if you believe it's going to work, what happens? It works. So he said, hopefully expectations make a difference. Emile Couvé, anybody know that name? He was a good doctor's prescription. Now you'll know this, you'll know what he said. Look into a mirror and tell yourself, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way I'm getting better and better. His recommended dosage is 20 times when you first wake up, 20 times before you go to bed, and 20 times at least twice more during the day. Some of us, when we were in our prosperity class, we said, I am prosperous 100 times twice a day. So this one is another along that same line. In every way, in every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. ESP research is coming back around. It expands our awareness of ourselves. J.B. Ryan, how many of you know J.B. Ryan? He is widely considered the father of modern parapsychology. He wrote the book Extrasensory Perception in 1934, ESP. He did a year-long study previous to that, was seeing if a person could guess the next upcoming card in a deck. He said if the subject had a sense of hopeful expectancy, they would be more successful in guessing what the card would be pulled. I'm going to get it right. He talked about quantum physics, which is an astounding subject. They've had over 80 years of experiences measuring subatomic particles in a wave state. Only when a measurement is taken by an observer does the particle exist. What are the implications? Reality exists in an infinitude of states. Infinitude of states, reality exists. Why don't we see infinitude in our macro lives? William James, now that might be a name that's familiar to some of you. William James, in 1902, presented the Gifford Lectures. Before quantum physics, he said that mystics see all things going on in one time, like a drop of water. He can see the atoms, etc. Why don't we see those details in our everyday life? When we pan back away from the microscope, you will see less and less of what's really going on. With our five senses, we don't see the infinitude of life. We have a life that goes beyond our five senses. We access it better when we are in a hypnotic, dream, and meditative state. What we see is not what we really are. The journey of Christ is the blueprint of our lives. Focus brings force. Find your chief aim in life, boil it down to one sentence. I'll tell you what my chief aim in life is, and I can boil it down to one sentence: to live up to my name. I am here to experience and share my gaiety. What are you here to give and to share? Boil it down to one sentence. How does all of this relate to the topic today? That's for you to decide.
That's not fair.
That's not fair. My job is to plant some seeds. Your job is to take the ones that you want to focus on and feed them and water them. I was reading one of my favorite books that I know I've shared with you many times, Opening Doors Within. It's a channeled piece. And let's see if this one helps bring you back to any sort of recognition between our topic and the items I've shared with you. As you expect the very best in life, you draw it to you. So start right now expecting the very best in everything and everyone, and watch the very best come about. Expect your every need to be met. Expect the answer to every problem. Expect abundance on every level. Expect to grow spiritually. Accept no limitations in your life. Simply know and accept that all my good and perfect gifts are yours as you learn to get your values right and put first things first in your life. Expect to grow in stature and beauty, in wisdom and understanding. Expect to be used as a channel for my divine love and light to flow in and through. Accept that I can use you for my work. Do it all in absolute faith and confidence, and behold my wonders and glories come about, not just once in a while, but all the time, so that your whole life is indeed a song of joy and thanksgiving. It all relates to being grateful, to being thankful, for knowing deep-seated in our heart of hearts that there is this divine energy that I am, and it is infinite, and it is whole, and it is complete, and it is beautiful, and that I am an individual expression of it. That I am going to present this divine energy in my own perfect, unique way, every day, at every moment. And every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. It is so. I want you to have great expectations of life. How many of you have ever planned on going on a vacation? How does that feel? It feels good, doesn't it? Because you're expecting something new, something different. What am I going to experience that I've never experienced before? How about if you take that same attitude and put it in your heart and your soul and your expectations today? Guess what? We live in frickin' San Diego. We're on vacation all the time. Bring that attitude of joy and expectancy and what's going to happen into your life this day, and be grateful for it. Be happy. You know? Don't worry, be happy. You know that one. Yes, yeah. And express it. See, the theme of this whole month's talks is not just gratitude and not just being grateful, but it is expressing it. Let somebody know if you like that color that you have on. I love your outfits, by the way. That's beautiful. Let somebody know what you're thinking about, I like the way your hair looks today, or whatever it is. Share that. Let it out. If it's something that's coming to you that makes you smile within, how about if you share it? Because it's probably going to let somebody else smile. So I want you all to practice every day in every way. I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Let go of the old, let go of the attachments, let go of, oh my goodness, I wonder what's going to happen because, the horse ran away. Know that good is on its way to you always. And don't worry and be happy. Blessings. Namaste. Love you.